Okay, welcome. We will now reconvene into open session. The time is now 7:11. If you would please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, well, welcome and thank you for joining us tonight at our January meeting. Happy New Year. Sorry that we were a little bit late. We had the beginnings of our evaluation for Dr. Rogers, and so that took us just a little bit extra time. Just as a note, meetings of the board are open to the public but are not meetings of the public. The Lewisville ISD Board of Trustees meets monthly in a regular board meeting to receive reports from staff and take action on recommendations from the superintendent. The board receives the agenda and all supporting documentation approximately 10 days in advance of regular meetings, which allows us to ask and receive answers to many of our questions in advance of the regular meeting. This is a change in protocol that we made last year. It means lengthy discussions or a litany of questions on every item of the agenda often is not necessary, and as a board, we do have appropriate knowledge and preparation for responses regarding the content of our meeting tonight. As a reminder, there are students and other guests present. We do expect to maintain decorum and respectful behavior as expected. Disruptive behavior and or comments will not be allowed. So now we will jump into our agenda. And the first item we have is to consider action on items discussed in closed session. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve, where is the language? All committee, what is it? Personnel. All personal recommendations as provided by staff.
Thank you, Ms. Hassett. That's a motion by Ms. Hassett and a second by Mr. Miller. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor? And that's unanimous. All right. Next up, we have our recommendations, and so I'm going to jump in here first. Oh, Dr. Rogers is going to jump in.
Okay. As part of recognition, as you notice around the room, there's all types of decorations to commemorate January as School Board Trustee Month across the state of Texas. Every year in Texas, January is School Board Recognition Month, and nowhere is there a better Board of Trustees than LISD. As a superintendent, the great working relationship I have with these 7 folks is critical to serve our staff and our students. They provide the vision for what we want our district to be, and then they provide us the tools necessary to make that vision happen. I'm proud and grateful to work with such dedicated community volunteers, each of whom truly puts what's best for LISD first ahead of other considerations. As you see, our campuses across our district have provided tokens of appreciation for you, the board. And I want to share a sincere thank you on behalf of our students, teachers, campus and district leadership, along with the communities you represent. We are so fortunate to benefit from your involvement in our district, and I appreciate personally your example of servant leadership, which is on display every time we work together. So thank you very much for your service to the students and staff of LISD.
Thank you. What are you moving that for? I will say it is a fun month, and we do appreciate it's just a great blessing to come in here and see all that, and our little spaces are filled with notes and cards and pictures and everything else from campuses, and I know that takes extra time for the campuses to commit to do that, and we do appreciate it, so thank you so much. All right, Ms. Brim, so now you're up.
Thank you. Our first recognition tonight is the Hebron High School girls volleyball team, the very tall people out in the lobby, if you notice them.
The Hebron High School volleyball team came back for more this season to claim victory at the UIL 6A Volleyball State Tournament at the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland, Texas. This is the second year in a row for the Hawks to dominate and claim the championship title. The team closed out their season with a 46-6 overall record, including 13-1 in district. In addition to the team's outstanding accomplishment, many individual players collected a massive amount of district, all-area, and state awards. Kylie McLaughlin was named Texas Association of Volleyball Coaches Setter of the Year, as well as Texas Girl Coaches Association's All-State Player alongside fellow teammates Alexi Douglas, Annie Benbro, and Adonna Rollins. The team was led by Coach Karen Keeney, who has been the head volleyball coach since the campus opened its doors in 1999, taking the team to the state tournament 5 times and winning now 4 state titles. Congratulations, Hebron Hawks.
It's my pleasure to introduce to you back-to-back state champion coach, as well as 4 state champions, Karen King.
I don't usually cry, but you guys are going to make me cry on that standing ovation. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you having us here tonight and representing this district that we love so much. Most of these players that you see before you, and we have quite a few that have club practices tonight. As you know, they play a lot of volleyball during the year. But I can tell you that nothing means more to them than playing for their school. And that's what's important to me, is that they honor and represent that school so well. And I'm so proud of them. I want to introduce you to, first of all, one of my phenomenal assistants, Coach Sokup is here tonight. And then in order, starting out, okay, Mr. Finch, Miss Warnicki, our favorite principals. But starting down there on that end, our smallest, we really didn't go height order, but anyway. That is Miss Annie Bembo, and next to her is Blair Bembo, Kylie McLaughlin, Alex Vanderhayden, Katie Farley, Lexi Douglas, Emma Clothier, Lauren Merrill, and Nicole Drunick. And the great thing about this group and the ones who can't be here tonight because of club practice is that we are graduating only 2 playing seniors. So, yeah, no pressure. We hope to see you next year.
Thank y'all very much.
Next up, we have another example of Lewisville ISD winning all of the states with our Lewisville ISD band state champions in 2nd and 3rd.
What an outstanding, record-breaking year for the Lewisville Independent School District marching bands. At the UIL Area Marching Band Preliminary Competition, Hebron, Flower Mound, and Marcus finished 1, 2, and 3 out of 24 bands. In the finals, Flower Mound, Hebron, and Marcus finished 1, 2, and 3, qualifying for the UIL State Marching Band Contest. At state, Flower Mound, Hebron, and Marcus finished 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in both prelims and finals. This is the first time this has ever happened in 6A history. Congratulations to the prestigious Flower Mound, Hebron, and Marcus High School marching bands.
we have the Flower Mound group up here? Directors and students from Flower Mound? Ms. Harvey? Brent Biskip is not available to be here. He's at a funeral, so I'll introduce co-director Jana Harvey, and she'll introduce the rest of the staff and the students.
Thank you for having us here this evening. I'd like to recognize our drum majors, Senior Jacob Stiller, closest to me, Junior Alex Palma, Senior Nicole Zhang, and Senior Marshall Cahill. Next to them is the rest of the Flower Mound Band staff. I'm looking down the row. Mr. Zach Sherburn, Mr. William Martin, Mr. Darren Hicks, and of course our principal at Flower Mound High School, Ms. Sonia Lale. So thank you, board. Thank you, everybody, for having us here this evening.
If you're parents of the Flower Mound Band, please stand up. Could we have the Hebron Band representatives come up, please? I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Andy Sealy, and he will introduce the staff and students.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Thank you, Dr. Rogers and LISD Board, for this opportunity to recognize our students. Folks that we have with you this evening, sorry, Dr. Rogers. I just couldn't see who the next student was. I didn't know where I was going next. First of all the way on the end, you recognize again Mr. Finch and Ms. Wernicke. Thank you guys very much for being here and all the support that you give our staff and our students. I'm going to have to lean forward all the way. We'll start, looks like, with the staff. Then this on the edge out there is J.P. Wilson. Next is Tanner Trigg. Next is Mr. Travis Pruitt. And then Margot Brode, one of our color guard captains. Cody Harrington, a senior drum major. Assad Sheikh, a junior drum major. Taylor Courtney, a senior drum major. And Ife Okafor, our other color guard captain. And Logan Parker, a junior drum major. And then closest to me, Mr. Nathan Whitfield, for our percussion captain.
If any Hebron parents are here, please stand up and be recognized. Parents are a huge part of this. Could we have representatives from the Marcus Band come up, please? Ms. Drinkwater, would you come up and... introduce your staff. This is Amanda Dreekwater, the head band director, and she's been up here every 2 years at the same time for the last 6 times. Here.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here. Thank you so much, Dr. Rogers and LISD School Board. We are so proud to have shared in this experience with our friends and colleagues in music, with the Flower Mound and Hebron bands. It was just really surreal to be a part of it all, and we issue our heartiest congratulations to these fine groups. Special thanks to Mr. Schaeferman, Mrs. Upshaw. Thank you for everything that you do for the kids and for the program. We couldn't take a step in time without either of you. And to the best staff, here's David Simon and Mr. Kenan Wiley and Mr. John Leonard and Mr. Chase Howard. Thank you so much for putting up with me. And to you students, fabulous students, this is Jonathan Grill, drum captain, Besnik Abrashi, drum major, and Miranda Britton, she's our color guard captain. Jordan Rodriguez, drum major. Jeremy Thomas, drumline captain as well. Jungi Lee, drum major. Geneva Lay, drum major. Katie Kelton, woodwind captain. And Emma Edwards, brass captain. Special thanks to our band booster organization and parents. If you'll stand and let us appreciate you as well. Thank you so much.
Of course, you know, in Lewisville IC, it's not just our students who win awards, it's also our staff members. So for staff recognition for the night, we have Director of Critical Needs Staffing, Gail Prince.
Gail Massey Prince, Lewisville ISD's Director of Critical Needs Staffing, recently received the 2016 Texas Association of School Personnel Administrators Distinguished Service Award. This award is given to an experienced human resource professional who possesses leadership ability and a high degree of personal and professional integrity. The award winner must also demonstrate high involvement in the HR TASPA community at the regional and statewide levels. In 2015, Gail was elected to the TASPA Executive Board, during which time she led an overhaul of the TASPA strategic plan, which included developing a certification program for the Texas School Personnel Administrators and developing a platform to address legislative and state Board of Educator certification. Gail is grateful for the opportunity to have an impact on our children by hiring qualified staff, participating as an LISD Discipline Advisory Committee member, reading to students, and after 8 years continues to volunteer as a communities and schools mentor. Congratulations, Ms. Prince. Gail Massey Prince.
It's a great honor and privilege to recognize a colleague of mine for the past several years. And I won't belabor the point from the items that were brought out in the great video presentation, but I would like to just add that I trust Gail Prince in the administration of our office without any hesitation and beyond measure. She's a woman of great faith and integrity, and I cannot, you just can't say anything more about a person than that, and she's a pleasure to work in our office, as evidenced by our HR team here in the audience, Miss Gloria Massey, Gail's mother, and her lovely daughter, Loria Prince. That's Gail Massey. Dr. Hood-Hanchin, Miss Barges. Yeah. In fact, how about the HR team come up?
She wants the HR folks.
You know you don't want to, but come on.
And our last recognition for the evening is Flower Mound 9 high school teacher Angie Greenlaw.
Humanities Texas recently announced Flower Mound 9th grade campus teacher Miss Angie Greenlaw as one of the 12 recipients across the state to be presented with the 2016 Outstanding Teacher of Humanities Award. Miss Greenlaw teaches English and Humanities and chartered the school's chapter of the English Honor Society. In 2015, she was named Teacher of the Year. Ms. Greenlaw has been an integral part in bringing several innovations to her campus, most notably the Genius Hour program. As a part of this nationally recognized program, teachers set aside an hour of instructional time every 2 weeks for students to work on individual passion projects. Students choose a topic, prepare proposals, give pitches, and conduct research both in and out of class. At the end of the year, students present their findings during a Genius Hour showcase, with chosen finalists receiving awards. Through programs like Genius Hour, Ms. Greenlaw fosters students' inherent creativity and enthusiasm for learning and connecting with the world around them. Congratulations, Ms. Greenlaw.
Hi, my name is Will Skelton. I'm the principal at the Flower Mound High School 9th grade campus, and I have the honor of presenting Ms. Greenlaw to you tonight. Just a couple of things about Ms. Greenlaw. She's been an educator in Lewisville ISD for 19 years. She's taught at Lamar Middle School, and she went to Flower Mound High School for 11 years, and then came over to the 9th grade campus in the fall of 2014 when we opened. She has impacted thousands of students here in Lewisville ISD. We couldn't be proud of her, Ms. Angie Greenlaw. And I meant to say her husband Bill, her sons Gavin and Foster, and her mother-in-law Elsa are here. If you guys could stand. Yep, and come on up. Yeah, come on up if you would. We'll take a picture.
All right. Now we will move on to our open forum portion of the meeting. I will say if you're a parent here and your student has been recognized, feel free to leave. We're not going to call you out or anything. Okay. Persons desiring to address the Board of Trustees must fill out a speaker's card prior to the meeting. No presentation shall exceed 3 minutes, and we do have that running so that you can see that. The board cannot deliberate on any subject that is not included on the agenda. Tonight we have 27 speakers. And so we will start first with Noah Vaughn. Oh, push the button.
Okay. Hi, I'm Noah Vaughn. I'm a graduate of 2013 from Lewisville High School, and I'm also a student from College Street Elementary. I want to talk to y'all about College Street Elementary. I heard recently that y'all were planning on moving it from its current location on College Street to Mill Street and expanding the size to 600 students. I just wanted to say that I think that this is the wrong decision. From research, I found that the school performs better than most schools that have similar socioeconomic status and racial demographic makeup. Typically, especially whenever you look at specifically the economically disadvantaged students and test scores on the STAR test in 2015 and 2016. I also want to say, just from personal experience, students from College Street Elementary tend to benefit more in their education, go on to succeed more. In particular, my class from Lewisville High School, 2 of the top 10 students in the class were from College Street, including myself and one other student. So I see that students who go to College Street, go to that smaller class, go to that smaller class sizes, go to the smaller campus, tended to succeed more. Because if you look at Lewisville High School, my class was a class of 876 students. Approximately only 60 students from my 5th grade class went on to middle school. So you could see that the small portion of those students, even though 20%, much less than 20% of the total class size of Lewisville High School, only 20% made it to the top 10 of the class. I also wanted to say that it is a very big part of the community. It is a community neighborhood school. My parents help pay for the canopy that goes over the playground. It's the only park in the neighborhood too. So it's a place where families and people in the community can gather and meet each other and play and have fun, as in addition to it being a place for education. I also want to say that it's also it's an integral part of my childhood and my upbringing, and I feel like it would be an integral part of my success as a student. And I think other students feel the same way. It's because it's a smaller school, students tend to be able to know all the teachers, and all the teachers tend to know all the students, even from 1st grade or kindergarten onwards. So people are involved in each other's lives, and that's not possible with a school that has 600 students. I think the size that it is now is ideal. I think it should be a model that should be followed for other schools in the future as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up to speak, Christopher Del Carpio, the Lewisville High School Student Council.
Hi, my name is Christopher Del Carpio, and I'm the senior class student body president in Lewisville High School. And here with me tonight is our freshman class officers from both campuses, our sophomore class officers from both campuses, our junior class officers, and our senior class student body officers. We all wanted to come here tonight to thank you for all the hard work that you do and the work that you put into the communities and into the schools. I realized that after the past 4 years being involved in my school and student council, the Board of Trustees and the superintendents have been one of the biggest parts of what makes our district great. And as a senior, being really sad that I'm moving on with the next chapter of my life, I've learned to appreciate all the little things, and you guys are not a little thing. You bring so much to this school district, and you're what makes it special, and you're the ones that put the hard work into it. And so thank you. The little gifts that we left on your seats could not compare to all the hard work that you put into the school district. You have a major impact on the schools and the community, and especially the students. I see so many of you come to our events, and you're active, and you're talking to students, and you're just being the most supportive and wonderful school district that anyone could ask for. So thank you very much, and on behalf of all of Lewisville High School Student Council, we thank you all so much for your hard work.
Thank you so much.
And we would like to ask for a picture.
That's fine, yeah.
I only want a picture. Allison.
Okay. Next up, we have Joyce Fuel, Sarah Leslie, and Kim Jones.
Hi, I'm Sarah Leslie. I'm the president of UEA, and we would just like, as an association, to thank you guys for your hard work and for your volunteerism to make a difference in our school district. By doing so, we would like to make a donation to LEF in your honor to just say thank you for what you do for us. We appreciate it.
Okay. Next up, we have Jade Jimenez.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Jade. The reason I'm here in front of you is because I have heard rumors that you're going to close our school, which students and teachers are disagree because this school is like our second home. That's why I am here, representative of my companions of school. I hope that my voice is heard and served for our school, Hedrick Elementary, for it keeps running and keeps serving like a step to learning. Think like a student that loves his school. Or how would you feel that the work you had for years that you so passionate about, they took it away? That's how we feel for Hedrick. I ask you for your help so that our school, of which we are urgent, go ahead. I raise the voice, you have the power. Thanks for your time. Have a good night.
Jade, you did a great job, and you were a wonderful representative of your campus. Thank you for coming tonight. Next, we have Stephanie Abundis. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that.
I am actually a mother of a student that goes to Hedrick Elementary School. I, too, was a student at Hedrick and Hedrick Middle School. My husband, as well, was a student at Hedrick Elementary and Hedrick Middle School. Without these schools, we wouldn't have met each other to be where we are today. Our son has had a lot of help from Hedrick, from kindergarten all the way until his 5th grade year. I would be very sad if he lost these schools to be transported to other schools so that he couldn't receive the extra help that he's getting now. He has a lot of great teachers at this school, a lot of great principals, counselors. Everyone at that school is wonderful. I don't want these schools to be torn down and not rebuilt. They need to be rebuilt because if these students get bussed out to other schools, they're not going to get the extra help that they need because there's going to be more students and less help, less teachers. I just want to be considered for both schools to be rebuilt. That's all I'm asking for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Annabelle Cardenas.
Good evening. I'm there as a staff and as a parent. My daughter is currently in 2nd grade, and she loves the school. She loves her teachers. And I'll just, as a staff member, I just feel happy to go to work every day and because it feels like family. And I'd just like for you to consider rebuilding Hedrick Elementary as well as Hedrick Middle School. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have Apollonia Castillo.
Hola, buenas noches.
Good night.
Yo solo vengo representando a toda la comunidad hispana.
She comes to represent the Hispanic community.
Todos necesitamos que reanuden la escuela. Necesitamos mejorías en la escuela.
She wants to rebuild the school. She knows it needs some more improvement.
Nuestros hijos, la mayoría de nosotros, caminan hacia nuestras casas y la escuela está en un buen lugar.
Most of our kids walk to school, and they are in a perfect place for them to do so.
Solo quería agradecerles y dejarles saber que estamos muy agradecidos por toda la ayuda que nos brindan.
They want to thank you and appreciate all the help you all provide.
La escuela tiene buenas maestras, buen personal.
The school has good teachers and good staff.
Estamos muy contentos con los grados que nuestros hijos están recibiendo.
And they're happy with the results of that.
De antemano, muchas gracias.
Thank you for your attention.
Next, we have Claudia De La O. Sorry.
I'm reading mine, so. Hedrick Elementary is an incredible campus that is rich with culture and diversity. We truly are a neighborhood community school with a population that comes from various backgrounds, learning from and sharing with one another. We have built this community by fostering a climate of collaboration and respect simply because we enlisted the families as partners in our schools. In doing so, we have demonstrated to them the value that each and every person brings to the to a learning process. Yes, Hedrick is a low socioeconomic campus, and many of our parents work 2 jobs in order to put food on the table. However, they do so the parents that work can walk to the school and attend the numerous school events throughout the year. Children, especially children from homes with limited income, really need the strong sense of community that Hedrick has provided for many years. The former Secretary of Education is quoted as saying, the cuts you make to the budget you present, those represent the values. Let's find a way to model the right values to our children and our families in the way that doesn't deprive them of a new neighborhood school and the ability to attend after-school enrichment programs. Let's show the community how much we value them and keep Hedrick open while we rebuild. It is so that together we can move forward and inspire our children to rise above where they are now and instill in them the knowledge that no matter where they come from, with a good education, the possibilities are limitless. Thank you.
Next, we have Francis De La Rosa.
Hello, I'm Francis De La Rosa. I just want to let you know that I am a staff member there, and I've been there going on 16 years, and I'd like to do 4 more years. I support rebuilding Hedrick Elementary School, and I vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Guadalupe Diego.
Buenas noches.
Good night.
Más vengo a darles a saber de que quieren tumbar la escuela primaria y secundaria.
You want to tear down middle school and elementary?
Pero no quieren renovar la primaria.
But you do not want to rebuild elementary school, I'm sorry.
Pero yo pienso que si se puede levantar la secundaria, también se puede levantar la primaria.
I think that if you can rebuild the middle school, you can also rebuild the elementary.
Para el futuro de nuestros niños que por años han ido a la escuela.
For the future of our children that have been there for years.
Y mucha gente no tiene transporte.
A lot of people don't have transportation.
Y es muy difícil mudarse de una escuela a otra para los niños.
It's difficult for them to adjust from one school to another.
Es todo. Gracias.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Fernando Escamilla.
Muy buenas noches tengan todos ustedes.
Good night to all of you.
Quiero comentarles que desde el 2002 mis hijos empezaron a estudiar en la Hedrick.
Since 2002, my children have gone to Hedrick Elementary and Middle School.
Allí han estudiado todos y no hemos cambiado de escuela porque la escuela ha tenido muy buenos maestros, 5 hijos que empezaron a ir a la escuela, nunca se movieron de escuela.
All 5 of them have gone to Hedrick Elementary, and we have not moved to another house because we want to stay in Hedrick Elementary.
Ahora tengo otros 2 chiquitos, ella es la más chiquita, va en 3er grado y tengo otro que va en el 6. Y pues como no conocemos otra escuela, no queremos conocer otra escuela, queremos permanecer allí, porque estamos bien cerca de la escuela, vivimos enfrente de la escuela, enfrente de Hedrick.
I have a 6th grader and a 3rd grader, and we don't want them to go to another school because this is the only school we like and we love, and we live right across the street and we want to stay there.
Porque hemos tenido muy buenos maestros, mis hijos nunca repitieron un año.
We've had great teachers. None of them had repeated a year.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Starla Johnson.
Hello, I am a former parent of 2 Hedrick Bobcats and current parent of 2 Hedrick Wranglers. And tonight I'd like to speak to you about parity. Parity is defined as the state or condition of being equal, especially regarding status or pay. Lewisville ISD continuously strives for parity across the district, ensuring that every student is treated equally and given the same opportunities as every other student, regardless of race or socioeconomic status. Parity is why the district is requesting money to build $10 million black box theater additions and $60 million in athletic improvements in addition. Parity is the reason the district is proposing the addition of 2 multi-purpose facilities, one at Hebron High School and another one at the Colony High School, with an estimated cost of $30 million apiece. Parity is why 20-year renovations on existing facilities is so important. Parity is a noble thing. Now let's talk about parity on a smaller scale. Let me tell you what parity means at Hedrick Elementary. You've already heard from people about the uniqueness of our community and how proud we are of our diversity. I'm going to talk about the ways in which our students and their families are the same. Parity is a free breakfast provided for all students so that those receiving free and reduced lunch aren't singled out. Parity is over 80% of our students receiving free or reduced lunch. Parity is the feeling of security and safety that our students are able to achieve because the majority of our families live at or below the poverty level. Parity means that it's not uncommon for our students and their families to receive supplemental food and supplies through organizations such as Love Packs. Parity is evident in the form of a principal who ensures that every student has access to the same quality school supplies by budgeting for and providing these supplies for every single student. Parity is hiring bilingual and multilingual staff so that all of our students and their families' voices will be heard. Parity is a classroom full of kids where all but 1 or 2 receive a free coat for the winter. Let me share a story with you about something that happened this morning. We had a student come from Myanmar and enroll in our school. As many of our Chin families come in, she didn't speak English. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there are 5 different dialects of Chin. We just so happened to have a child in a classroom that spoke the same dialect as this little girl. By placing her in the classroom, knowing that this child spoke the same dialect of Dai Chin, we were able to achieve parity for this student by giving her a voice and her family a voice. At our school, parity means dignity. Please do the right thing. Please give our students parity in the form of a brand new school built on the land where we currently sit. I support rebuilding Hedrick Elementary and I vote. Thank you so much for everything you do on behalf of our students and their families.
Next, we have Stephen Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. I know that emotions are high this evening, so thank you all for listening to each and every one of us. My name is Stephen Johnson. I'm a parent of 2 kids that attended Hedrick Elementary and currently attend the middle school. And I'd like to kind of reiterate the finances and the logistics of just the rebuild of Hedrick Elementary. Based on the recommendations of the FAC from their last meeting this past Thursday night, there were 42 total projects voted upon to be sent to the board for consideration. This included the facilities, the numerous renovations, athletic fields, even new schools. 41 of those 42 projects were approved by the FAC for consideration. There was one that was not, and that was the rebuilding of Hedrick Elementary. The total to rebuild Hedrick Elementary is projected to be around $34 million. That's only 45.3% of all the Priority 1 projects and 3.9% of all the Priority 1 and 2 projects. I know that all projects under consideration are not approved by the board and that these are merely proposals and the board has the final say. But regardless, this project should have been included with the 41 others that were voted upon. This is just a small percentage of the total cost of a future bond, whatever that happens to be. So we know that this is not a financial issue. When the question came up of rebuilding both schools on the current land site at the November 17, 2016 FAC meeting, both Dr. Rogers and the architect present that evening stated that both Hedrick schools could be rebuilt on the current land site with minimal revisions to each campus's plans. If you really want to build it, it can be done. So we now know it's not a land issue. So my question is, what is the underlying issue of why we cannot rebuild Hedrick Elementary School? Why do we still not know which schools these kids are going to be bused to and rezoned to if the school is not rebuilt? Shouldn't these neighborhood schools and their families be advised of the time ahead of time of the possible changes of how it will directly affect their schools? Are you, the board, willing to fall on your sword and potentially jeopardize an entire school bond for one elementary school that is long overdue to be rebuilt? Hedrick Elementary is merely a dot in the vast 127 square miles that the LISD covers, but to the 600-plus students, their families, and the dedicated staff and teachers that go there, and by the people here this evening, it means everything. I appreciate you and your service. I appreciate you listening to everyone and listening to us, the community that you represent. Do the right thing and rebuild Hedrick Elementary.
Bryn McCarthy.
Hi, my name is Bryn McCarthy. I am 13 years old, and I went to Hedrick Elementary for kindergarten and first grade. That place is a big piece of who I am today, so I'm here to speak about the reconstruction of Hedrick Middle and Elementary schools. I've researched this topic, and I'm here to speak in favor of rebuilding both schools. I read that there's an option to rebuild both schools, and I think that the elementary school should be just as big of a priority as the middle school is. I don't know why certain people are so keen on not rebuilding the elementary school, and at the FAC meeting in November of 2016, it was clearly stated that both schools could be rebuilt on the same land where they stand with minimal impact to each campus. I'm also worried about the children of the elementary schools. How can we trust that they will make it to the bus on time or can make the longer walk to school? We have to remember that to get to middle school, we all had to go through elementary school. I know that we're probably not the most envied school in the district, but rebuilding it could make our image change for the better. So in conclusion, I would like to thank you for your time, and I hope that you will take everything I have said today and give it just as much consideration as any of the other speakers. Thank you.
Great job, Bryn. Next, we have Mike McCarthy.
Good evening. My name is Mike McCarthy. I live about 2 or 3 blocks from Hedrick Middle School. I had students there for 6 years, and I was active in PTA, active volunteer in the classroom, et cetera, et cetera. I know that LISD is a school or a school district that supports community neighborhood schools, and so I was kind of shocked and appalled when I saw Yale's bond proposal that effectively eliminates one. The word optional is not fooling anybody, ladies and gentlemen, and to me that's just not an option. As you've heard from many of these people, the school is more than just a school, and I know it has its problems, but if we actually support these schools, then we need to be investing in them and not tearing them down. The other thing that I was kind of appalled by was that part of the solution included putting 6-year-old and 7-year-old and 8-year-old students on a school bus twice a day for 25 to 30 minutes. This is an unacceptable solution when there are other options available. And there is another option available, and that is to rebuild Hedrick Elementary School. It's an option that is in concert with your stated ideals. People are more important than stuff. And I will vote to defeat this bond package unless the rebuilding of Hedrick Elementary School is changed from an option to a requirement. I will also vote to unseat any member of this panel who publicly states that they are in support of community neighborhood schools and also votes to support a package that effectively removes one from the district. That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Coral McCarthy. Press the button. Okay.
My name is Sorrel McCarthy, and I've been a resident in the Lewisville ISD for 19 years. I've also lived for 15 years in the zone for Hedrick Elementary and Hedrick Middle Schools. 3 of my 4 children attended Hedrick Elementary, and I served on the PTA for 5 years as the treasurer, vice president, and president. I am proud to say I am a lifetime member of that PTA. Hedrick Elementary and Hedrick Middle Schools are the oldest schools in our district, the same age as me, 43, and have been in need of attention for some time. We have watched in my neighborhood as other schools have received new buildings, classrooms, athletic facilities, and repairs. It is long overdue that both Hedricks receive this attention, and I applaud the board for finally taking action. However, I am shocked to learn that one of the proposed solutions is to rebuild the middle school while demolishing Hedrick Elementary without replacement. I have to say that I am appalled at the hypocrisy that I see in this decision or in this option at all. This school district has long prided itself on its dedication to the concept of neighborhood schools, community schools. To take away our neighborhood's community elementary school, splitting up our neighborhood students between 4 to 5 other schools through busing is the opposite of what this district has publicly supported in my experience. Our children deserve the same access to a neighborhood school as everyone else in the district. It is possible and affordable to rebuild Hedrick Elementary School. The option to do so is already present in the FAC proposal. Also in the FAC proposal are many items that should not be placed at a higher priority than providing a neighborhood elementary school that currently serves over 600 students, many of them non-English speakers, many of them refugees brought into Lewisville by various humanitarian organizations, many of them some of our most vulnerable Lewisville residents. Because they love their school, their children, and its unique contributions to the betterment of their lives, I speak for them tonight as well as for myself, because many of them cannot be here to speak for themselves. I understand that this upcoming bond, if it is approved by the voters in May, will benefit over 53,000 students in LASD. If a Hedrick Elementary rebuild is not on the bond, I must inform you that I will have no choice but to, in good conscience, vote no, working also to persuade others in LASD to also vote no. However, if a Hedrick Elementary rebuild is on the bond, you will earn my vote, along with the votes of my husband and 3 adult children, and I will do my best to support the bond in my community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Elizabeth Nash.
Good evening. I am the Hedrick Elementary School PTA president and was very disappointed to hear about the Facilities Assessment Committee's decision to not include the Hedrick Elementary rebuild in their proposal. I must admit I was not going to speak tonight. However, when I was getting ready to leave tonight, my children asked me where I was going. I
told them where I was going. I explained it to them, why I was going to support the school. And my fifth grader, Jimmy, fifth grader at Hedrick Elementary, obviously, said he'd heard the rumors that the school wasn't going to be rebuilt and asked me to do my best to convince you to make sure the school gets rebuilt. And I quote that he said, "Please convince them to rebuild the school. It's a great school and all the teachers are great." My third grader, Anderson, heard this and asked curiously what was going to happen to him, a little bit scared as well. And I was able to say, well, it probably won't affect you. You're in third grade and by then the middle school and so on and so forth. However, my kindergartner immediately started to cry and said, well, I don't want to go to a new school. And sadly, the only words I could use to comfort him were, perhaps the bond won't pass in May. And of course, he's only in kindergarten and didn't understand what that meant and continued to cry. Hedrick Elementary School and the middle school are both really unique. They were built in the early 70s. They were built together with an innovative design for that piece of property. And I think it was a great solution at the time. I think the kids, if you've heard tonight, it's a unique population, and these kids, the unique schools, the unique population, certainly deserves a unique solution for both campuses to be rebuilt. I really appreciate your time and your service. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you. Next, we have Lauren Neal.
Hi, my name's Lauren Neal. I have two children that attend Hedrick Elementary and one that attends Hedrick Middle School. We just recently transferred to Hedrick. We bought a house over in the area, and I can tell you that my children attended Independence Elementary before transferring to Hedrick, and Hedrick has done a complete turnaround for my children. When they were going to Independence, their grades were failing, they were suffering. They didn't want to get up and go to school. It was a hateful environment. And then when we come here, they were accepted with open arms. And all of my children are making A's and B's now and loving school. They love their teachers. They love the community that we're in. And whenever I heard that you guys weren't going to rebuild Hedrick Elementary, it really upset my children and myself as well. You know, we haven't been in this school very long, but I can tell you that it's a wonderful community. And I vote that you guys rebuild Hedrick Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Josh Nunley.
This button. Oh, you just have to push it once. You don't have to hold it. That's why I was like, what's going on? All right. Did I get more time? No. Good evening. My name is Josh Nunley. I am the CIS, Communities and Schools, site coordinator at Hedrick Elementary. I've been in this position for the last 3 years and have just absolutely thoroughly enjoyed my time serving the students and families of Hedrick. My goal in speaking to you today is not to represent Communities and Schools' position on the matter at hand, but to come to you as a member of the Hedrick community. My desire is to inform you of data that you may not already possess in order for you to make the most informed decision when it comes to whether or not you will choose to rebuild Hedrick Elementary. The CIS program at Hedrick is unique. It's unique. In fact, the fact that it is the CIS program at Hedrick is unique in the fact that it is truly built in the fabric of the Hedrick leadership and culture. This is partly due to the fact that it has been servicing the students of Hedrick for the last 14 years. But this is also due to the overwhelming support and understanding that the Hedrick current administration and teachers have for the importance of the community involvement in our school. And the community support is substantial, and it's growing rapidly. Due to a few different partnerships, our volunteer numbers have risen exponentially. For example, when I first arrived to the program 3 years ago, our volunteer base was comprised of 25 volunteers, half of which were LHS high schoolers. At the end of this semester, we have 73 volunteers. That makes up our volunteer team, 41 of which are adult mentors that meet with their student one-to-one on a weekly basis. This is by far the most impactful service that my program provides. And from my knowledge, Hedrick has the most of this specific community resource throughout the whole district. The rest of the volunteers play pivotal roles in providing quality services to support the students' needs. Last year, the program provided over 4,500 hours of service. That's over 10,000 services to the Hedrick community. And with the additional growth of the volunteer base, those numbers will only grow. I ask that you take this growth of support for some of the most at need and the most at-risk students in our community into account. I would also ask that...
Mr. Nunley, I'm going to have to... Can you wrap up your last sentence?
Of course.
Thank you.
I would also ask that if you do come to the conclusion that rebuilding Hedrick Elementary is not what is best for our students, then plans be made and accommodations be made to ensure that all those services, the mentors, relationships, and volunteers would be able to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Amelia Palmer.
I pushed it. I knew that was going to happen. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Amelia Palmer. I know many of you got my really long email today, and I'm sorry it was so long. If you didn't get it, maybe somebody will share it if you'd like some light reading. I have two children currently at Hedrick Elementary. I have a 5th grader, and I have a 3rd grader. And I know that when all of this works out and all of the buildings are built and everything, dust settles, my children will not be at the elementary school. They will have moved on to the middle school that we know will be built. I am here to speak for my friends and family, my teachers and my principal, the parents of my friends, the friends of my kids. We are here to tell you that Hedrick Elementary School is not a school. It is a home. It is a place where our children are accepted and loved. They are known by name when they walk into the doors. They're given hugs and high fives. They laugh and they are happy to be there. My children over Christmas break asked me when they could go back to school. They really love to be at Hedrick Elementary School. And I just am brokenhearted at the thought that children would miss out on this environment, that these wonderful teachers would be separated and sent to other places. We have great teams that came together and created dual language programs so that our English students could join the Spanish students in learning the Spanish language. In fact, Ms. Kuckler was fantastic to allow my son in 1st grade, when Hedrick was not chosen to have the dual language program in 1st grade, to let my son go into the Spanish class and learn with those children. And he continues to do that. He is the only English-speaking child in that Spanish class. And those children rallied around him, and they love him. And he rallied around them, and he loves them. And they're the best friends that my child has. They're the dearest, sweetest friends. And we would not have had that at any other school. And when I asked, can we have dual language for 1st grade in Hedrick Elementary, I was told, transfer to another school. Get on a waiting list. Other schools have it in 1st grade. And I said, absolutely not. I would never leave Hedrick Elementary. It has been a joy to walk into that school with my children, to spend time in the classes, to go on field trips and watch these teachers at work. They are phenomenal. They deserve to have the school rebuilt. They deserve to have the appreciation shown to them that all these years of hard work in a school that was too old, falling apart, roof leaking. My child has come home before and said, our roof leaks. My classroom was wet. And these teachers go above that and continue to give these children love and education beyond expectation. It has been a blessing in my family to be a part of that school and to call them my family, because we have felt so close to everyone there. So please, please rebuild this school and allow the younger generations that will come behind, the children of my children's friends, to have the same opportunity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. James Palmer.
Good evening. First of all, thank you very much for the hard work that you do. You have a tough job, and it does not go unnoticed and unappreciated. Thank you for the hard work you do. About Hedrick, we've all heard the old adage 1,000 times, spoken in Texan, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, the converse of that would be if it's broken, fix it. Well, Hedrick Elementary has been broken for a long time. Leaky roofs, mold in the walls, plumbing problems, electrical problems. Now is a perfect opportunity for us to fix this problem. But what is really the problem with rebuilding Hedrick? Well, we know it's not because the school is not meeting the needs of the community or the students. These teachers are doing a great job. Hedrick is meeting that need. It's not a space issue. You know, Dr. Rogers has said, the architect has said, if we want to rebuild, we can do it on this same spot. So what's the real problem? The real problem is these buildings are falling apart and need to be fixed. So imagine yourself back in the school that you went to in elementary, or your parents' home. It's probably a lot smaller than what you're in now. But imagine, they've been there for 40 years, the roof is leaky, it has mold in the walls, it has problems, and some well-meaning community members knock on their door and say, we'd like to solve your problem. And you think, wow, if you're going to rebuild my house exactly the same way with the brand new materials, that'd be great. And they say, no. Nowadays, houses are bigger and nicer. Terrific. You'll build me a nicer, bigger house, but the yard may be a little smaller? No. What if they say, our solution to your problem is to knock your house down, make you move, make your neighbor's house bigger? I'm not sure how Jade would feel about that, but I know how I would feel about that. So really the problem here is the cost. And we already heard that on an $800 million bond, rebuilding Hedrick would be about $34 million. That's less than 5%. If that's $14 to $18 per house per month in the LISD, that means the Hedrick rebuild part would be about 75 cents per month per house, $1. Now, I do vote, and I understand that y'all have to be good stewards of the money. But I don't think $34 million to rebuild Hedrick would be the straw that broke the camel's back of an $800 million bond. Okay? Hedrick Elementary has been broken for a long time. Let's fix it. Let's fix it by giving them a brand new, clean, modern school right there to serve the community that's already being served and doing a great job. Thanks again. Night.
Thank you. Shannon Richardson.
Hello again. Over the last 10 years, I have advocated passionately for Hedrick Elementary to be rebuilt. Each time we asked, we were told the rebuild was coming. Just wait. Even in the 2008 bond, we were told next time for sure. Now with this new bond proposal, we've been excluded entirely, and the promises of parity for our school are shattered. It's now proposed and approved by committee that the district not rebuild the elementary. And now I have some issues that I'd like the board to address as this proposal will be brought before you for approval. First, why was this proposal not announced to us parents? Even now, there are parents who are only just learning of this decision, despite their children being directly impacted. Did the district intend to inform Hedrick parents of this decision so they could have a say? Second, despite requests about what schools our children will be forced to attend, we were told only that they would be taken care of. Currently, over half the student body walks to and from school. This proposal will force our youngest children to ride the bus to school or force the parents to drive them, as it is too far to walk to even the nearest school to Hedrick is over a mile away. Third, since our children will need to be bused now, will they have the same opportunity to join extracurricular activities in their new schools without worrying about finding a way home afterwards? I'm very concerned our students just won't join choir or student council or stay for tutoring or for clubs after school because they must catch the bus and it's too far to walk.
Is it fair to our Hedrick students to be restricted from after-school activities because of a district-imposed transportation problem? This is not a problem for children living near their campus. Fourth, although I'm sure that the receiving schools will do right by our students, I'm very concerned about our parents who are where language is a barrier. Hedrick Elementary had the foresight to hire a Chin translator to engage Burmese parents in their children's education. Will the district be willing to do likewise at all the receiving schools so that every parent will have the same opportunity to engage their school? Imagine the frustration a parent would face if they cannot properly convey their concern for their child because of language barrier and there is no one there to translate. Is that fair to those parents and to those students? Fifth, with all the security protections proposed in the new bond, like ballistics protection for all school offices, I would certainly hope that the district would not endanger our children at a cost and space-saving measure by placing them in portable buildings outside, especially after forcing them from a comparative safety of a brick-and-mortar school. Finally, I'm curious as to the representation Hedrick Elementary has within the board regarding this decision. Did any board member advocate on behalf of our students and families against this option, or are we on our own versus LASD when it comes to our children's school and future? I feel this proposed decision is unfair to the families who live in the Hedrick Elementary zone and who voted for you. Rest assured we will fight fiercely for parity for our children, even if no one else will. We are voting members in this district, and we will remember your positions in this bond on this bond election and in future elections.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terry Robbins.
Now does it work? Okay. I don't have it all written out. I wasn't sure I was going to speak, and I can't really add a lot to what everyone's already said. Other schools could serve our kids. Other campuses can get the same programs that we have. I've been at Hedrick for 18 years. My 2 children went there. I've grown with this school, and I have seen this grow from a predominantly white campus to a whole different demographic. And as a community, we've all grown together to meet the needs that have arisen. And if you separate everyone and send them to different places, it's going to take them so much time to put the same things in place that we already have. And those kids would lose so much in the wait time that it would take. So just please remember, it's not just a building, and it's not just numbers, and it's not money. It's kids. These are their lives, and we're here for the kids. And I know that y'all care about them, and we love them. And they came out, and those parents spoke. That was so hard for them. And Jade, she's a second language learner. She was mine in 3rd grade. And for her to get up in front of all of you and do that, anyway, it's amazing. And please show them you care. Remember, these are lives that you're affecting, not just numbers. It's not just a building. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca Roche.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Roche. I am a mother of 3, one middle schooler at Hedrick Middle School that started out in the elementary, and 2 elementary 3rd and 4th grader. Both of them have started out since kindergarten, and they've been in the dual language program. Spanish isn't their first language, but they have learned so much. Like everyone has said, this is not just a school. They are family. They all know my kids' names. They know who we are. My kids are excited, and they're ready to learn each day. They don't hesitate going to school. They don't fight about it. They enjoy their teachers. They enjoy learning. We don't want to see that taken away from them. They've been steady and stable. We don't want to change that. We want to keep our school. We love our teachers. They are very dedicated to our students and to their learning needs. And I just hope that y'all keep Hedrick Elementary, rebuild it, keep it there. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Eduardo Santos.
Buenas noches a todos los aquí presentes. Me da mucho gusto darme la oportunidad de estar aquí.
Good night to all of you. It's a great opportunity to be in front of you.
Antes que nada, quería agradecerles por tener la escuela todavía y me gustaría que en realidad pues acepto los cambios.
He's thankful that the school is still there and he accepts the changes.
Y sé que los cambios son mejores para nosotros, ¿va? Y para los niños, pero ese cambio que ustedes quieren tener no es correcto, ¿va?
The changes that you are proposing are not correct for the kids because
siento que a los niños los lastimaría, ¿va? Porque en parte es su segunda casa, es el lugar donde ellos empezaron sus primeras letras, sus primeras palabras.
the changes you are trying to make are not the best for them because that's where they learn the first letters, the first words in English.
En inglés y en español, ¿va? Y sé que ustedes también fueron niños y que también pasaron por algo así similar, ¿va? Pero yo pienso que no han llegado a un punto donde les hayan lastimado así, quitando una escuela, ¿va?
They know that you probably started the same way, but that you have not been hurt the way that you are trying to hurt our children, taking away their school.
Yo sé que muchos padres no se animan a decir las cosas, a decir lo que en realidad los está lastimando, que vayan a cerrar la escuela.
He knows that a lot of parents don't want to come and talk in front of you and say how much they hurt closing the school, the elementary school.
Pero aquí solamente ustedes tienen la última decisión en poder cerrar la escuela o seguirla teniendo abierta. Y eso pienso que sería algo mejor para nosotros.
The last decision to keep the school open, that would be the best for our children.
Muchas gracias por darme la oportunidad.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good night.
Laura Sinnott.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. My name is Laura Sinnott. I've lived in Lewisville since 1989. I had 4 children that went through 7 different schools in Lewisville School District. My kids did not go to Hedrick. We lived over in the Valley area. I also am a volunteer with Treats United Methodist Church, and we partner with Hedrick, and we've got about 50 volunteers that show up there and mentor kids, come after school and offer boys leadership meetings and teach kids to crochet and do art, and we support the teachers and have gifts of appreciation. I also volunteer at Rockbrook Elementary, so I've been to a lot of elementary schools in this district over the years, and there's a uniqueness about this one. You've heard people say over and over and over again that it's not just a school. It's clear it's a refuge. It's clear. I've never seen such caring. It's a community, and I know you want that for all your schools. I don't know how much time you spend in Hedrick. It is that, and to think that anything would do to change that would happen to change that breaks my heart for those kids. These families have a lot of obstacles in their ways to get their kids to school. Taking their school out of their neighborhood, I've got a lot of concerns about that. One of my biggest is how are these kids going to get back and forth to school if you're not going to bus them? If they're a mile away, if it's raining and it's cold, are they going to walk to school or are they going to skip school? Kids that don't go to school don't get an education, and kids that don't get an education don't benefit our community. We can do better than that. At one point, my kids had to go to school across the highway. Huffines had not been built yet, and they went to Milliken and to Delay, and it caused problems at times. And we had 2 cars, and it was problems. They got up earlier. They missed time at home. They got home later. They didn't have as much time for homework. There were times they actually had to walk. That's a scary thought for kids to have to walk that far. I just want you to think about these things. You've heard a lot of great arguments today. I was on your website, and I read that part of your mission statement is that genuine transformation requires disruptive innovation. I don't know how this is not disruptive. I think we can do better than this. These families already face enough obstacles daily. Can we be innovative? Can we keep their community? Can we keep their school? Can we give them the opportunities? I think that's what your job is. I know that's what my job is as a community member, and I think we all win when we do that. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Kathy Weiskopf.
Okay, thanks. My name is Kathy Weiskopf, and I'm a volunteer at Hedrick Elementary. I volunteer with Treach. I know that LISD is a very caring, wonderful school district. I have 2 kids that go to Flowermont High School. So I know that you care about these students and you want what is best for them. But the only way to really know what's best for them is to spend some time at Hedrick. You need to talk to the principal, the staff members, the parents, the students. When you spend time at Hedrick, you realize that Hedrick is more than an excellent place for kids to get an education. It's a community. It's a community of students who are very diverse. Some from Burma. I work with some students who started school late, started in the 3rd grade. There's so much missing that they haven't learned. And there's people that need to go back and fill in all those missing bits of math and reading. It's a community of families whose first language is something other than English. So they often need assistance in helping them fill out forms and procedures, and they know they need help in how to succeed in this community. It's a community of staff and teachers who have, over the years, with a lot of experience, come to understand the struggles of these families and students and how best to assist them. And it's a community of volunteers, myself included, who genuinely care about these students and show up every week to mentor and encourage them. Again, I know you care about the students at Hedrick and want what is best for them. From the outside, it may seem that it's best to not rebuild the school. It would certainly save money, but the only way you are going to know what is truly best for these families and students is to see and hear from their point of view. Before making a decision, you need to spend time at Hedrick Elementary. You need to see the community in action. You need to hear the stories of how teachers have changed lives, and you need to understand what this school does for the community besides educating the children. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our open forum portion. We'll now conduct a public hearing on the Texas Academic Performance Report. So I'm going to turn that over to Dr. Brockman.
Good evening. Presentation of the Texas Academic Performance Report, or TAPER, is a required piece for school boards during the course of the year. And at this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Sarah Fitzhugh to come up and share information from the TAPER report, which you have in your board packet. The presentation on the screen is also included in that board item in your packet. And the TAPER report, of course, is also found on our website. Dr. Fitzhugh.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Tonight I'm here to present the TAPER, as Dr. Brockman said. It is required by the state that we present this. Oh, I have to turn this on. I was doing really good with the on mic button, like I didn't mess that up. Sorry, the clicker got me. The TAPER is a compilation of a lot of data pieces that are used to summarize our district and our campuses. There's one available for every campus, as well as the district level and the state level. Tonight I have pulled some snippets out to look at, just a quick brief glance, but you have had the full report and it's available on our webpage as well. So I'm not going to belabor any of this. Please feel free at any point at the end to ask me any questions you might have.
So one of the pieces we've pulled out is that LISD students, when they graduate and enroll in a higher education, in Texas higher education, we do outperform the state and the region, our graduates do. The piece to note with this is these are just students that enroll in Texas schools. So if they've gone out of state, they are not represented in this data. Also, there's a data piece there that talks about how many completed 1 year without remediation, and again, our students outperform the state and the region. Our 4-year graduation rate, again, we outperform the state and the region. There are several other graduation rates available within the document. This is just straight up graduation. Continuing students are not represented in this number. Our dropout rate is lower than the state and the regions as well. Our average SAT and ACT scores are above average as well, and I've pulled out some of our different student group population groups for you to see. Advanced placement, we have more students taking the test and more students performing at criteria than the state and region. So with a larger population, we're still outperforming. And then, just for good measure, we put in some STAR data with a couple of caveats in there. The first one is, I just want to note that I cannot guarantee that all data in the TAPR is 100% accurate, especially when it comes to STAR. We're still battling some of our data files and making sure they're 100%, so know that we've had some score changes, and those aren't reflected in these numbers, as well as, and I just called it the instability of the system. The accountability system changes every year, and so at this point, the state's not even trying to make comparisons. So it's kind of limited when it gets to that piece. But we do outperform the state and the region in terms of students meeting the phase-in level 2 satisfactory. And then when you go up to the post-secondary readiness standard, which is that 2022 where we're supposed to be moving towards, we outperform the state and the region there as well. And then also for advanced, which is kind of, that exceeding, used to be called commended, we outperform the state and region in that area as well. And with that, any more information that you would like, the TAPR is available on our webpage as well as TEA's performance and reporting webpage. Any questions?
All right. Are there any questions from the board? Okay. The public hearing on the Texas Academic Performance Report is now open. If there are any persons present who would like to speak to this topic, please come forward at this time. Okay. Well, I don't see any speakers and no one making their way, so I will declare this public hearing closed. Thank you, Dr. Fitzhugh, for your time, and we appreciate your efforts at battling the state. So thank you for that.
Ms. Sheffield, I would like to second that her assessment and accountability team do battle, if you will, with the state practically on a daily basis, whether it be with the current accountability system or the future, and making sure that we do what is very best for every single one of our students. She alluded to changing test scores and them not being included. That entire department is dedicated to making sure that when a student's test score comes back, that it is reflective of their actual performance. We think that would be easier to guarantee than it is. So I'd like to say thank you for that team.
Yeah, thank you. We can put y'all in charge. All right, so next we're moving into learning and teaching focus. Ms. Rapp?
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. What a great opportunity to transition away from something based totally on standardized multiple choice tests to a system that is more about authentic learning for students. I'm going to ask Ms. Michelle Jacobson to come up to the podium for me as we say a couple of opening words about e-portfolios before she starts talking. We have some important audience members who have waited here this evening, and I want to ask them, their campus administrators, students, teachers, and parents to stand up, the ones that are here for e-portfolios. If you wouldn't mind, digital learning team, campus teachers, principals, administrators, students, parents, thank you so much for waiting, and we're excited to have them here this evening as we make this presentation. Some of our superstar students, Amjad, Isabella, and Rachel, if you all will wave, are in the video that we'll show this evening. So we're excited to have them here.
First off, thank you all for welcoming us here tonight. Just want to take a moment to say hello to all of our school board members, our LIC staff in attendance, students, parents, and of course our community members. Mrs. Rapp already introduced me. I'm Michelle Jacobson. I am the new Director of Digital Learning, and I am so excited to share all of the work that our team, our students, and our staff have done on the e-portfolios.
As you know, our students live in a world where they no longer are living in the days of the 3-ring binder. And we talked about at the Facilities Advisory Committee how the Google Drive is becoming the place that's storing not only documents, presentations, and things of all kinds of collaborative natures that the students are working on, but it also contains sites, which is where we'll share with you tonight. We put the e-portfolios. Our students also no longer have to publish just for the audience of the refrigerator, but they now have an audience, both locally and globally, that it's important that they learn to publish for. And we said our thank yous.
We've already said our thank yous, which I thank you again. So on this first slide, this is the actual picture, a screenshot of our LASD district e-portfolio template. We have the same expectations of all of our e-portfolios. We want them all to have the tabs where students share a little bit of information about themselves, in addition to the 21st century skills, and then the graduate profile. The really awesome thing about this e-portfolio, with it being housed on Google Sites, is that students can go in, they can change the font, they can change the background, some of the other information to make it their own. So what are the purposes of our e-portfolios? Why do we have them? As we work as a learning organization to have students show evidence of their learning, we want them to have a more creative way to show this authentic learning, not additional multiple choice test in which it is a student reading a question, answering A, B, or C, but really having the opportunity to show their learning through authentic work housed in their e-portfolio. This is tied not only to the technology application TEKS, but also content TEKS as well. So it's not something in addition that we're pushing forward. It's something that the state is already expecting for all of our students to be exposed to and to work on in class. We want to make sure that our students have a safe place with digital citizenship with our sites in Google. It is a way for parents to look over this information, for teachers, for administrators, and it really sets up an opportunity for our students, again, to show their practice in digital citizenships in a safe place. And then lastly, it's a place for our students to show their career-ready skills and graduate profile skills, which we'll go over a little bit more. So digital citizenship, of course, the safety of our students is a priority in every avenue, and it doesn't go away just when we're talking about digital portfolios. Digital citizenship is a strand addressed in the technology TEKS. There's no way for us to predict the technology that will be available for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren in the future. However, we feel that it is our charge to make sure they have strong understandings and a foundation established on digital citizenship. Our e-portfolio allows students a safe place to work on these digital citizenship skills through their use of the Google Drive. And there's a quote up here. It says, according to Educators Technology, managing one's digital identity is a skill, so to speak, that we need to learn and teach our kids and students about. In a world digitally focused, the boundaries between the real and the virtual are blurred. When you look at the technology TEKS and you look at the digital citizenship, it's something that begins in pre-K and goes through 12th grade. E-portfolios provide a safe place for our students to really establish that strong, positive digital footprint. I learned a new, way of thinking of this from one of our students, from Marcus, and it's in the video. He calls it his digital reputation, which I think really speaks to our youth. Again, we talked about the technology application TEKS. In pre-K through 8th grade, they are separate strands. In high school, these are integrated within the content curriculum standards. There are 6 strands: creativity and innovation, communication and collaboration, research and information fluency, critical thinking, problem solving and decision making, digital citizenship, and technology operations and concepts. All of these align with the different tabs that are in the ePortfolio for students to submit artifacts and then reflect on those in our ePortfolio. So up here you have a technology application TEAC that we pulled from. It is actually within the communication and collaboration strand that we just spoke about. And so we have an example for 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. And it says collaborate effectively through personal learning communities and social environments. You look at the strand that's carried out in the 5th grade. Participate in personal learning networks to collaborate with peers, experts, or others using digital tools such as blogs, wikis, audio-video communication, and other emerging technologies. I'm not going to keep reading with 7th and 8th and so on, but what I'm trying to show is that with our technology application TEACs, it's something that is carried on and it's built upon for each grade level. The last tab that we're going to talk about is our graduate profile skills and career ready focus. And so this is an area that we've already started in our journey with ePortfolios. We want to make sure that when our students are leaving LISD, that they are effective communicators, that they are problem solvers, and they are self-directed learners. Through students being able to choose which artifacts they have in their ePortfolio, it really allows them to showcase specifically their strengths, their growths, and their progress that they've made in our district. Our timeline, we've been on this journey since 2012. Becky McDonald was an East Zone leader, and she got a group of individuals together led by some East Zone assistant principals. And from there, we've grown year by year. This year, as a district, we are expecting for all students in grades 5th, 7th, and 10th grade to have their ePortfolio. 5th and 7th graders, they do have a digital citizenship piece, an artifact that's uploaded in their ePortfolio. And we're looking forward to where we're going in the future as well. Why do we select Google Sites for our ePortfolios? It used to be called GAF, Google Apps for Education. It's now called G Suite for Education. And so one of the things, again, when we talked about that digital citizenship, we want to make sure that our students have appropriate privacy. And through G Suite, it definitely allows for our students to have that privacy piece. We wanted to make sure that we had something that would be able to merge with other resources, and that is true with Skyward. Just a little bit, we're going to show you how we've collected the students' ePortfolios through Skyward, where on Skyward, when you go to look at your child's report card, there's a URL, so you can look at that as well on your mobile device or your desktop device. The storage capacity for our G Suite is huge, and so it does definitely allow for students to house things in their Google Drive, which they can pull over into their Google site. And then as seniors, as they move on, the ability to transfer all of the information from LISD to a personal Google account is something that is available as well. And now we have a video showcasing ePortfolios and what they mean to some of our schools, elementary, middle school, and high schools.
An ePortfolio, it's a collection of, everything you've done at school, the 21st century skills, your story allows us to know all about a student.
Some of the students may choose something they did in science, where other students may choose something they did in language arts, whereas some students may choose something that they did in art class.
What I like most is about how I get to put in specific school projects I've been able to do in school and showcase how it's exemplified a certain talent of mine, such as group communication or a leadership skill.
The more that they're putting into the ePortfolio, the more that they're looking back on it and seeing that they have actually improved in the different objectives that we've talked about, the different focuses like word choice or verb tense or even something as simple as punctuation.
And so we're focusing on how we're growing and learning throughout the years.
Last year we did them too, and I had something that I had really I could not do it. And now that I'm in 5th grade, I go and look back at it and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I couldn't do it whenever. Now it's just so easy for me.
It's just so amazing to see how you can really change in a matter of years.
I like that I can look at my e-portfolio in 20 years and say how much I've improved and ever since I've been in elementary school.
Not only to the students, but then also the parents. They're being able to see some of the awesome high-level activities that students are being asked of and being able to produce.
My parents think that e-portfolios are really cool because they get to see every single day what we do in school and what we've done. And my parents actually say that we live in a good time to be alive because of all this technology that's happening right now.
They're starting to make goals for themselves. They're adding questions to the reflections that are in the tabs. I noticed that some of them were talking about, I need to use my resources more so I can elaborate more. I need to go back into my draft book and pull from some of those lessons. And they're actually using it to guide their own learning goals for the future.
21st century skills are important because you'll need these skills to learn them as you go on in life and as you get older. So the 21st century skills are communication, collaboration, technological literacy, and social responsibility.
All of those 21st century skills, it's expected that our students are being able to upload artifacts and reflect on social responsibility, communication, collaboration, the critical thinking, and in order for that to take place, it has to be happening in the classroom.
Those are things that we're going to be using once we enter the career field. We even use them here, but really when we get out there in the real world, those are the skills we're going to need.
The e-portfolio gives us a place for the students to really be able to take some ownership of their learning, ownership of a digital portfolio of themselves to say, these are the goals that I set for myself. This is all about me. This is a representation of myself and what I am proud of, the work that I'm doing, and the steps that I was able to take in order to get there.
My daughter's younger. I'm excited to see what she has in her portfolio as a senior as opposed to, say, a 7th grader. So I think it'll be an interesting tracking of her growth and development. I think that that's what e-portfolios offer, is a chance to kind of see where you were, where you're going, and where you could be.
It allows the student to really express what they want to express about themselves. It's not, there's no force. You put whatever you want on your e-portfolio. So that means whatever type of reputation you want to present, that's the type of reputation that's presented, whether as far as pictures, the skills that you have, the things that you've done. It's all student choice. Nothing is forced upon the student. It's completely the student's reputation and how they want to present it. And that's what I like most about it.
The students can definitely, I think, share a completely different perspective than what I can share for you in front of tonight. I am really excited about that video, and I'm really excited about those personal experiences that our students and our teachers showed as well. So with our e-portfolios, what kind of support do we have for our campuses? The digital learning team and learning and teaching, we do have some different sites for our teachers and for our administrators to go to see different stems for reflection or different ways to access the Google Sites and the e-portfolio. But we have Mr. Fontana in the back. He is our principal at Harmon, and Harmon has just done a great job. They were not featured in the video, but they have really gone above and beyond to embrace the e-portfolio and to really, I think, tackle it as a campus and to allow it to show the growth of the students of 9th and 10th grade. Currently, we are collecting the URLs in 10th grade, and he's already been asking me, when can we go ahead and add 9th grade as well, because they want to share that. The students want it to be shared with their parents and with their teachers as well. So we're going now from an evidence of learning beyond the numeric grading, right? So we've talked about what exactly does a grade mean. With our e-portfolio now, a parent can be at home on a computer, they can be on their iPad, they can be on their iPhone, or just just a mobile device, and they can access their child's e-portfolio in grades 5, 7, and 10 by going to the Family Access. And then it's called Portfolio. It's where the report cards are housed, and there's a URL where a parent can click on. The only availability for this URL would be whoever the parent has given access to in Skyward. We have campus and teacher support as well, and those are through an ITF. What's an ITF? It's an instructional technology facilitator, and they support campuses in a variety of ways. We currently have 15, 9 at the secondary level and 6 at the elementary level, and they support campuses from just face-to-face meetings, co-teaching, lesson designing, looking at the content, and seeing how we can integrate technology to promote best instructional practices. They go in, they model some lessons. They can do observations with teachers and provide feedback. We call that coaching, instructional coaching. They participate in professional learning communities, present new learning for teaching, just on and on. And so far, this year, our ITFs have provided over 3,200 campus support sessions and over 3,400 hours of support. I want to close by just reiterating that our ePortfolio is more than just a tool to house these artifacts. It's really going beyond the multiple choice test and really showing authentic and meaningful work that our students are doing every day already in their classes. Thank you, and I wanted to see if you guys had any questions at this time.
Yes, Ms. Cox.
Thank you, Michelle. Great presentation. I love hearing what the students have to say, so thank you for including the videos in there. My question is how are those kids that aren't coming home and telling parents about ePortfolio, how is that being pushed out from the district so parents learn and understand how to check their children's work? Because I'll be honest, I have lots of magnets on my refrigerator that I love to use.
Yes, no, absolutely, absolutely. This process is fairly new. Right before our Thanksgiving fall break is when we kind of presented it. And so we didn't want to add a lot of pressure onto our campuses, so we had a soft rollout. The expectation was when we got back from winter break for those ePortfolio URLs to be submitted. The students did that in an online form, kind of like how parents do back to school with forms through Skyward. And so our hope is that the end of the semester is coming up and that communication would go out at that time. Exactly. If parents don't know about it, it's not going to do a lot of good. Great question. Thank you.
Are there other questions? No?
I do, but...
Who has one? Ms. Prosser.
Okay.
Nana Boo Boo. First, thank you so much. I really appreciate the presentation you gave to the curriculum committee, and I really appreciate all of your hard work on this. And I want to reiterate that this is about a way where a 26-line essay does not define a child, and they are not defined by one day and one test, but by I don't want to say a lifetime because it's only a few years, but that type of work. And I appreciate the fact that we're able to do that. My question to you is, what is the end goal? Right now it's 5, 7, and 10. What is the goal and what is the timeline on that?
I think our goal would be at some point to have all 4th through 12th graders having an ePortfolio. I think with the timeline right now is we've started with these 3 grades. Of course, next year it's going to be carried out at 6th, 8th, and 11th grade and started again with the grades that we started this past year. Looking at how the campuses are right now, I'm going to say that there are campuses who have already looked at extending that based on the resources that they have at their campus and what they've already been doing with ePortfolios. So I think as we go with this journey, we'll be sharing the timeline, but I don't want to say specifically. I think right now we're just looking at it progressing up from year to year.
And Ms. Prodnick, that's a great question. I will tell you that we will put forth a timeline as far as the next steps as we discuss at leadership team and provide district and superintendent goals for next year, we will outline that. So it is not a never-ending story.
All right, Ms. Hassett, did you have a question? No? Mr. Miller?
I do. Is Mr. Fontana behind the pillar there and I can't see him?
I think we may have lost Mr. Fontana.
Okay. Well, good.
He
So
was here for very long. Yes.
So that it's on record, did you really use him as an example in his campus? I just want to be sure. No, I'm just kidding.
We did, genuinely.
I know. And I saw some great things at that campus in the last couple of years when Mr. Plunkett had the campus, and I don't think it's gone downhill since he had it. But just things around PBL and some of the other 21st century learning things. And I'd make a note that those who are here representing Hedrick, that this is their school, right? So when you go to this campus, which is in many ways a model for implementing e-portfolios, it is a population where you've got 63% mobility or greater, right? You've got a lot of classes that are new students, what do we call them, newcomers, right, where you have 6 or 7 languages taught, and so there's quite a bit in that campus, and I think if you can make it work there, it makes sense. Recently, one of my employees in Nevada, I said, hey, do you think you can do this technology? And she says to me, I was born in 1982, right? It's an interesting concept because that's what kids are going to have, right? My wife's portfolio from college as an art major is going to be different than a student today. I think it's worth highlighting, don't get nervous, Ms. Rapp, okay? It's worth highlighting the TEAC strands as a part of this and how they fit into the TEACs, right? So while people will criticize things around 21st century learning and student technology and those types of things, it's important that they fit into the TEACs. That's the state. If people have a problem with it, it's the guys that just started work today for the next 6 months, right? Tomorrow, right? She always knows. They're the ones that are driving that, right, through their delegation to the SBOE and others. And to that point, as we talk about 21st century learning, is, we, I think, as a board, have done a good job of protecting our administrators, our procurement teams around things like Common Core materials, et cetera. And I just want to provide a comment here around 21st century learning. There are some who will look at 5 or 6 elements of that, personalized learning, student-centered, data gathering, we're watching your eyes through the cameras and everything. None of that's true. This is an essential element, right? As Mr. Ball has always told me, a student that comes out of high school that's going to work at an oil change place, guess what they're doing, right? They're using a piece of technology. When I get my vehicles fixed at Christian Brothers, they actually text me when they want to talk to me, right? When the technician, that's the level of technology. So here we're building a portfolio where a student can sell what they've done, these artifacts, if you will, or what we used to have in a box that our mom would keep. I guess my mom didn't keep them, but my wife did, right? These things that we show as artifacts to show, look at what little Johnny did back then, but even more as we start evolving to the graduate profile that we've talked about. That graduate profile will allow universities to look less at SAT and ACT scores, which we, Ms. Fitzhugh, Dr. Fitzhugh showed earlier, right, where we do really well, and look more at the student. And that's what we've been trying to get the legislator to do. Look at the student and not a failed accountability system. And so there's a lot to this, and there's a lot of work to be done. It doesn't imply, by the way, that we're going to go out and buy another 51,000 devices. This can be done through many mechanisms, and so you can, through Google Apps, as you talked about. And so I just wanted to provide those comments. The 3 of us are actually on the committee. We talk about a lot of different things every month. This was our latest. Actually, it was a 2-month discussion, a 2-time discussion anyway. And then I want to say this. When this topic came up a couple years ago, I started going to campuses and I'd ask the question, right? Because if we're investing in this, I want to ask the question. It was actually Miss Jacobson's when she had Coyote Ridge, and first time I asked the question, right? And I'm thinking, I got him. Sure enough, little 5th grader, hey, can you come out? And he's all nervous and, what's going on here? And he shows me his e-portfolio. So it exists, and the plan is to roll it out more extensively. And for me, as you all know, and I think we'd all agree, it's when parents say, I've seen my kid's e-portfolio, then we're successful. And it is a layer of work for teachers and that type of thing, but it's very meaningful as we look at how we help kids succeed. So 100% behind it. A lot of work to do. Hopefully the campuses are behind it, and we'll see it roll out more aggressively in the next year or two. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Hassett.
I'd like to add one part to that because I definitely think the parents need to be involved in this. I have 3 boys. They all have e-portfolios. None of them are particularly proud of them at the moment just because they're teenage boys, and I'll leave it at that. Because they don't see the value in it yet, but as I've been talking to them, because I'm that parent, they are understanding more of the value of it, especially even digital footprint. I've been talking to my sophomore about digital footprint. So I'm very excited about those type of conversations that others, instead of just me and Mom, are having at school.
Absolutely.
And so I'm very glad, and I know this is a first step, and I'm very anticipatory of how it will be continue to be rolled out. So I will be excited and thrilled with this program when the children themselves are proud of what they have in it, and as well as the parents, but for me it would be the kids first.
Yes, Mr. Miller.
Well, I just wanted to say, Dr. Rogers and Mr. Plunkett, just consider this my official request for a tour at Harmon to go see Tony and his team. So look forward to that.
We'll send him an email warning later tonight.
Are there any other questions? All right, this is an information item only, so it won't come back through our process. But thank you so much, and thank you all for being here tonight and for the work that you've done on this project. So, all right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have our legislative update, and this will be a continuing item on our agenda as we move through the legislative session, but I want to actually, hold on. Did it move? Oh. No, I know, but it's not.
It's just
on the printed. Okay, so I want to turn this over to Ms. Timish. I didn't want to put you on the spot there. Okay, Ms. Timish, and she's going to kick off our legislative update. She's a member of the Legislative Committee.
Thank you, Ms. Sheffield. Tomorrow is a very important day because it starts the 85th legislative session, so we are really excited about that, and we're definitely going to be praying. So I wanted to let the community know that the board has 4 legislative priorities that are not our priorities. They're our priorities as a community, and we would love for you to partner with us as we move forward in this legislative session. Just briefly, we are opposing any vouchers. We want to eliminate A through F school and district ratings. Third, adequate and equitable funding system. And fourth, support high priority learning standard development. I also wanted to give you a couple of key dates for those of you that take notes. If you would know that March 10th, the 60-day bill filing deadline. So that's March 10th. May 29th is when the session ends. And then June 18th is the last day for the governor to sign or veto passed bills. The TASB, Texas Association of School Board Legislative Conference, is February 21st. Several school board members and Dr. Rogers plan to attend. And we are also scheduling visits with individual elected officials. All the school board members are very active with meeting our elected officials, and we encourage you, parents and community members and students, to be writing and calling and connecting with your elected officials. So that's kind of just a brief update. Not a lot to report until session really gets underway, and then we'll be hot and heavy. But Ms. Hassett does have something to share.
Yes, Ms. Hassett.
I wanted to share with everybody that we put forth a bill and then found a sponsor. Representative Capriglione has agreed to sponsor, and he filed the bill a week and a half ago. And this bill, whenever legislation is put forth into session, there has to be something called a fiscal note. How much is the bill going to cost when the bill is implemented? So what our bill that he has drafted is okay, let me back up. Sorry. For those fiscal notes, it stops at the state level. So when the legislators are thinking about that particular bill, all they're thinking about, does that bill hit our state budget? If it doesn't hit their state budget, they don't have to put that fiscal note on there. And so if it hits our budget, and not theirs, they don't have to put it on there. So our bill makes them put it on there. So anything that will hit the school district budget instead of the state will now have to be listed as the bill works through the system. So the legislators get more information on how much that bill will cost, even if they aren't going to fund it, how much it will cost us if we have to fund it. And they have to keep adjusting it if the bill adjusts. So we're very excited that we have ventured forth into this process, and we hope that this transparency will help all of our taxpayers know how much the bills that the representatives or the legislators are considering passing. It's House Bill 798.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from any other board members? Mr. Miller.
I just want to support the committee on this. We started this. I think this is our second full session that we've really been aggressive with that. We had a session before the last session. We identified unfunded mandates. For those of you who don't really track this stuff, I just want to kind of emphasize how important this is. An unfunded mandate is something like the legislature requiring you to put cameras in special ed classrooms. So they tell you that you have to do that. They don't give you any money. Now, that's a very complicated thing if you look at FERPA and confidentiality and everything like that, but they tell you that you have to do that. They give you no money. This legislative body right here, anything we decide to do, we have to fund. Right? We can't say, oh, well, somebody else do it. Let the city do it. Oh, you teachers, you pay for it, right? We have to do it, right? And so there are a lot of things that they do that require us to spend money, our money, that could go to other things, whether it's investment in staff or that type of thing. Vouchers, we need people's help on this thing, right? Now, it may be dead on arrival in one house versus the other, who knows? But that's money that they're not taking $2.1 billion and saying, oh, if we give vouchers, we're going to give more to ISDs. It's the same money that we need to fund education for y'all. A through F, we'll talk about that, I think, in a little bit. That is a flawed accountability system. We'll save that. The funding, that's another thing, as I just mentioned. And then the high priority learning standards. One of the things that Ms. Rapp educated us on was that as people battle things like math teaks, if you're a parent and you've got a student that's taken math, probably a new area that's tough. If you're a math teacher, it's different, right? And so while people are saying that the math teaks are wrong, they should be rewritten, what's happening is the SBOE and the legislature are coming behind that and having more teaks developed for other things. So they're not reducing the number of teaks. They're actually having more, which puts more stress on us. And they don't give us more money for those key content areas and the teaks that we have to deliver to and the reporting. So it's really important this year, I think, in particular. And, probably for the first time, one of the things, good or bad, our legislatures, we have their numbers, and they know when we call by person, right? All three of them. I wish one of them would respond more, but I'll leave that as a mystery. And so this is a time for us to make a difference, right? As an example, you saw what happened with the new Republican legislature going in, where they stopped the legislature from doing something because people called, right? It works. We need people contacting the legislature, and it can't be just us because they're used to us being thorns in their side. We need the community to stand up and make a difference in the 85th legislature in Texas.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? All right. Well, we look forward to the fun that will be this spring. All right. Next, we're moving into our discussion portion of our agenda. Mr. Ball, if you'd kick us off with our monthly financial report.
Thank you, Ms. Sheffield. What you have in your package are the financial statements for the 3 months ended November 30th. That's the first quarter of our fiscal year. The financial statements do reflect that we're on track with the budget that the board has approved for the fiscal year in our three governmental funds, the Child Nutrition Fund, the Debt Service Fund, and the General Fund. And then you also have the investment report that we do on a monthly basis as of November 30th. And with that said, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Are there any questions for Mr. Ball? Ms. Hassett?
I do have one question for curriculum, instruction, and staff development. That particular line was cut a little bit more than others, and we have very little left in comparison to previous years. We have a little bit left. We don't have as much left at this time of year. I was just wondering, is that really enough left for the curriculum development that we would like to have for the remaining year for our staff? It looks little.
Ms. Hassett, I do not have any specific information about what's in, presumably you're talking about function 13.
Yes, sir.
I don't have any specific information offhand, but I'll certainly be happy to research that and get back with.
That'd be wonderful.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Ball. Next, we're moving on to our academic calendar for the 2017-18 school year. Dr. Brockman?
Thank you. This is a discussion item following last month's information item. The new information to share at this time is the results of the community input opportunity. That window was open from Friday, December 2nd through Monday, December 19th. We had 10,491 pieces of input submitted, and 37% of those favored calendar A, and 63% favored calendar B.
Thank you, Dr. Brockman. Are there questions for Dr. Brockman? Comments? We're kind of in a waiting game, right?
Oh, we have reconvened the calendar committee. They're actually meeting this Wednesday to look at a couple of other options. And so once we visit with them, then we will decide about bringing forward a couple other calendars. For instance, one of the calendars that I know we've talked about several times is whether or not we can finish the semester prior to winter break, and look at some other options that some other school districts have put out there. So we're going to have that discussion with our calendar committee this Wednesday.
Ms. Cox?
So, Dr. Rogers, so what will this look like since we're at the discussion item? How will that be? Are we going for a vote next month, not seeing the other calendar options, or how will that work? Or are we going out for a survey again, or what does that look like?
Yeah, certainly if the calendar committee and administration develops some additional calendars, then certainly we would want to have our stakeholders have opportunity to provide input via survey. So then it would probably mean that we would push back the final decision a month. But I promise you I'll keep you informed as we look into those options.
Thank you. Mr. Miller?
So I just want to make sure that we're transparent on this. That this is most people who got the surveys know there's a dependency on one option around what's called the District of Innovation. I think it's complex, and while the committee, generally speaking, when this committee votes, we would take that calendar. But because this year there's a dependency of us to be able to start school early, we have to become a District of Innovation. It sounds simple. Let's just start school early. But the legislature was lobbied in 2005 to put a uniform start date in place for us, and open charters don't have that. So we have to ask for the ability to do this. And it's a decision that we have to make first to be able to grant the ability to use a calendar that starts early. So without going into the complexity of it, because we had a workshop the other day, it's clear we're not on the same page. I just want people to know that if we don't take that calendar, it's not or whatever the recommendation is, it's not because we don't respect them. It's just this year, in order to do one of the options, it's very complex for us. And so I'll leave it at that.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll move into our action portion. Dr. Brockman, if you could start us with the resolution, or do you want to do that, or do you want me to have one of the, do you have that, Granda? Okay, Dr. Brockman.
Yeah, we've got it on.
Thank you. As we know, during the 84th legislative session, the Texas legislature passed legislation and the governor signed requiring an A through F grading accountability system both for individual campuses and for entire districts. The Commissioner of Education was charged with implementing such a system. The majority of the A through F accountability system in Texas relies on STAR scores. So that's 55% of the A to F accountability system relying on the test. We have found as a district particularly that this test is incomplete and unreliable as a measure of student success as a whole. And while we welcome meaningful accountability that informs our students, parents, and teachers about the learning needs of students and of schools, we do not feel that the A to F rating system is meaningful accountability. So you are presented with a resolution that more than 150 other districts across the state have adopted as a plea, a request for the legislature to reconsider.
Thank you, Dr. Brockman. Are there any questions or comments or discussion around this item before we ask for a motion? Ms. Hassett?
I definitely concur with Dr. Brockman's particular analysis of this particular accountability rating system. I have specific information that I do not like about this rating system. I forgot my notes at home, so I'm going to have to wing it. Okay, it's based on 5 different domains. The 5th domain is not going to be done this year because it's a community-based accountability system, and that's going to be developed throughout this year, not this year. Domain 1 is supposed to be student performance. So currently, that has 3 different indicators that they're using. They're using past, post-secondary, and advanced scores, and they're weighting them evenly. They don't have to do that by law. The TEA has decided, they've chosen to weight all 3 of those individually and equally. What this really and truly means is if every single student in that school happens to pass the STAR test, and they only pass it, they don't go to post-secondary or they don't go to advanced, but they do pass the state standards that they have provided, the students the school can fail. The school can get an F rating on domain 1 if every single student in that school passes the test. That's bogus. Okay, domain 2 is a growth factor. The growth factor is based on a predetermined score that the state has determined. So me as a parent, if I look at their scores, I'm like, hey, you did 10 points better, or hey, you did whatever. Or if just a regular grade, you've improved your grade from an 82 to an 84, that's good, keep you up with the good work. No, the state has determined what growth means. So you can't just get better, you have to get better at the state level. That's also a bad indicator. 3 is based on trying to make sure that we're bringing up the kids who need it the most. It's the scores that we definitely need to focus on. One of the big problems I have with this is that all schools are not rated equally. So one school's performance that they have to meet on the domain 3 is not rated at the same level as a different school's domain 3. So when you look at all of these factors, and when you look at the A to F, that this rating is supposed to be very helpful and very informative to parents. And when you see that, can you determine any of those things? No, because they're not transparent. That's another huge problem with this particular process. We've asked TEA, how did you determine those cut scores, that target score to make an A? What did you use? What methodology did you use to make sure that is an actual A for that school? How does that help that student knowing that performance? Yeah, crickets. They didn't tell us what it was that made up that A. So it's based on a bell curve. Any performance, any student performance, any school performance that you would want to have for a legitimate analysis of how a school is doing would never be based on a bell curve. That would not be a good system to have. And definitely, we don't want a system that will highlight and negate the wonderful work that schools are doing in all of our schools and make this based on socioeconomic status. Trying to label schools that are doing wonderful things, that are passing and doing what they need, and then calling them failures is wrong in the states. And so I'll just be quiet now.
Mr. Miller.
Public school boards in the state of Texas are subdivisions of the state. We fulfill a constitutional responsibility, right? It starts with for the general diffusion of knowledge, blah, 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 a system of efficient free public schools. We're required to provide a public education for every student, regardless of citizenship, until a certain age, right? One of our great principals in the back of the room and I had this conversation today. And so the state has deemed in its infinite wisdom that this complex system, which I don't even know what she just said, by the way, and Dr. Fitzhugh probably does, and Ms. Rapp and others, but I have no idea what all that meant. And all I know is that if my clients, if I said that they say, hey, this is how you're doing, and I went through a yeah button, went through that, they'd say, I'm sorry, Tracy, right? I mean, it is complicated, but here's what's embarrassing about it. You know, when I teach Sunday school, I always ask little kids what school they go to, and I hear them talk about what school they go to. And so some know the school, some don't, right? I mean, you know, Mr. Greenwell got students there, and all your schools. The little kid says, well, I don't know the name of the school. Sometimes that happens, although they're much smarter than I ever thought kindergartners were. And he said, well, I go to that school, the one that, you know, that the sign out there has an F on it. Because essentially that's what you're doing in a marquee that says failed. But the definition of failed is failed. So why am I not nervous about a district innovation? Because the same legislature that in their infinite wisdom imposed this on you as educators, and for that as a subdivision of the state, I think we'd all agree we're sorry. Because it's wrong. It's wrong, and people need to stand up and be aggressive with our legislature, and to think that our commissioner is not complicit in the execution of this, we're even more naive, right? Therefore, I'm not nervous about them when they offer us some little tidbit of district innovation or starting school to say no, because what you're not focused on is what means something to kids and closing the achievement gap. We're putting definitions on school that are meaningless. Because if you take those 600 kids at Hedrick Elementary and you take them to Mr. Greenwell's school, both fantastic principals, while Mr. Greenwell's teachers are just as good as Miss Cuckler's, right? And we've all been to, those who asked, we've all been to Hedrick, haven't we? We've spent time there. We understand it. As great a job as his staff would do, when those kids go home at night, they have the same exact situation. They're hungry. They may not have a strong home life, right? As good as they are. If he offers a program in Red Ribbon Week that, you know, wear different socks, most of those kids, they go to that school, they may not be able to buy socks. So an accountability system that does not take that into consideration, and I am firmly believe that this is a discrimination and a highlight on poverty, because if you look at scores, right, what happens with scores? They follow socioeconomic patterns. This is where parents and teachers need to get upset. This is our legislature in their infinite wisdom, who, by the way, wants to offer vouchers, who also, by the way, wants to take away freedoms from homeschoolers this session. Look at the bills that have been filed. So it is a material thing what they have done. Now, we have some commitments from our legislature to work on this, and we are going to be aggressive about it, but we need help. This is a flawed system, and it's one that we should not accept. And I appreciate the administration, Dr. Fitzhugh, and everybody else, Dr. Rogers, Ms. Brim, for the letter that they wrote, which says LISD rejects. We don't want to modify it. We reject it. I'd get that out to every one of your friends and neighbors, and I would remember that, because they get elected every year. I would look at your senator, and I'd look at your representatives that vote for these things if this is not killed. This is material this session, right? In my opinion, maybe you all agree, if we can kill this, we've had success. If nothing else happens, this has to die. And if we don't fight it together, it's not going to happen. And we need educators across the state doing it. And I appreciate, again, we talked about this. The district in this, right? So sometimes we're team players. In this, we said we reject it. You need to reject it, right? And we're not going to put pressure on you. Let me tell you something. For us, the definition of these campuses didn't change anything. We didn't look at that and go, oh my gosh, we got a problem here. Look at this school and that school. We got to fix things. None of us looked at that. We said, wow, this thing's stupid, right? So I just want you guys to know we support you. Tell your staffs we support you. This is wrong. We're going to reject it. We're going to fight like heck against it. And we need your help to do it. And so I'm embarrassed by what the state has done as a subdivision of the state. But as you know, they control a lot of things with us. They tell us how to educate. They tell us how to grade our kids. That, you know, we can go to down the street from Hedrick, and we can go to Founders Academy, just about 4 blocks away, and what will you find? Them ranked in A. Why is that? Because they don't have the same socioeconomics. They don't have lunches, because they don't have more than 10% of their kids are free and subsidized lunches. Hedrick's 90%, and so they give it to all kids, so there's no stigma, right? That doesn't happen just down the road because of why? The socioeconomics are different, and they can say, we're full. those of you who are educators in here, whether it's a high wealthier area or not, you can't say no. And that gets forgotten when people look at public education and they say, oh my gosh, look at this school. And they forget the fact that we, like the church, in my opinion, take everybody. We fulfill our constitutional responsibility. And the legislature, in their infinite wisdom, is trying to say, be more like those who are not required to take everybody. So I think this is a time for us to stand up strong. We started with what went out public. I'm sorry for sermonizing, but this is something we all feel strongly about, and we're going to continue to fight it.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you.
I just have one comment. I would like those same legislators to be under the same A through F system. And I've said that from the day that they brought this into fruition, that what is good for us should be good for them. And there is not one of them that will do anything but chuckle when I mention that. So, boo on them.
My concern is, and I know legislation has been filed to revert to the old system, and, that's not any better. I mean, the exemplary, commended, recognized, that's not, it may be a little bit better than A through F, but it's not a win, so I've seen some people get excited about that, and that's not really something I'm very excited about either. I think we need an accountability system that actually truly reflects schools and the learning and teaching that's happening there. So I do want to read our resolution, and I'd like to ask before we do that, I don't know if anybody has issue with the resolution as it stands. Okay. So, Ms. Timish, would you mind reading the resolution, and then we'll ask for a motion?
I'd be happy to. The Board of Trustees, Lewisville Independent School District resolution concerning the A through F accountability rating system for Texas public schools. Whereas the Texas legislature has enacted legislation that requires the Commissioner of Education to implement a public school rating system that would assign A through F grades to schools and districts beginning with the 2017-18 school year, and whereas at least 16 states have implemented a similar rating system utilizing A through F grades for schools and districts, and to date, there is no definitive research that suggests these ratings have improved student or school performance, and whereas in a recent statewide survey conducted by the State Board of Education, an overwhelming majority of Texans do not want high stakes, standardized test scores to serve as the primary basis for public school rating systems, and whereas the majority, 55%, of the A through F grades are based on the State of Texas Assessment of Academic Readiness, the STAR, a high-stakes standardized test that does not accurately or reliably measure student learning, and whereas the STAR provides little meaningful information to guide students' learning, inform teachers, or report academic progress to parents, and whereas the Commissioner's proposed rating system utilized A through F grades for schools and districts includes 5 domains and numerous unrelated indicators to determine a single grade, leaving the public with an invalid, disconnected reflection of school quality. And whereas the Commissioner's proposed rating system utilizing A through F grades for schools and districts creates a false impression about students, ignores the unique strengths of each school, and unfairly reduces each student's worth to the school's assigned grade. And whereas we believe in the tenets set out in creating a new vision for public education in Texas, TASA 2008, and our goal is to transform education in Lewisville ISD in accordance with these tenets. And whereas we embrace meaningful accountability that informs students, parents, and teachers about the learning needs of each student and each school, and whereas we believe our state's future prosperity relies on a high-quality education system that prepares students for college and careers, and without such a system, Texas economic competitiveness and ability to attract new business will falter. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lewisville Independent School District Board of Trustees calls on the Texas legislature to repeal the rating system utilizing A through F grades for schools and districts, and develop a community-based accountability system that empowers school districts to design their own internal systems of assessment and accountability that, while meeting general state standards, allows districts to innovate and customize curriculum and instruction to meet the needs and interests of each student and their communities. And be it further resolved that this new system should reduce the use of high-stakes testing, standardized tests, encompass multiple assessments, reflect greater validity, and more accurately reflect what students know and can do in terms of the rigorous standards.
Thank you, Ms. Timish. So, having read our resolution, is there a motion to approve?
Ms. Sheffield, I move that we approve the resolution as read.
Thank you, Ms. Timish, and that's a second by Ms. Sells. All right, are there any other comments or questions? All right, all those in favor? And that's unanimous. And Dr. Brockman, can you tell what we will be doing with this resolution now that it's been passed?
We will be posting the signed version of the resolution on the website. I will be sharing it with our elected officials as they start their legislative session in Austin tomorrow. And we will be forwarding it on to TASA, who's keeping a list and a collection of everyone who has passed the resolution, as well as forwarding to our local media outlets.
All right, thank you so much. All right, next on our agenda, Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Ms. Sheffield. This item is a recommendation for the board to appoint a firm as the construction manager at risk for the summer 2017 construction projects. The board approved those projects at a previous meeting, and in response to that, we had a procurement process to circularize our request for proposals. We contacted 53 general contractors and with this RFP, and the responses we got were from 3 companies. And we had we made the decision to just interview all 3 respondents. We had a committee composed of Dr. Coburn, Mr. Fight, Mr. Hughes, Mr. Martin, and Mr. Grossman from purchasing, and myself. And we interviewed the firms. Also participating in those interviews were representatives from the 2 architect firms that the board has approved. And based on those interviews, along with a comparison of the cost estimates that were submitted, the committee was unanimous in its recommendation of the firm of W.B. Kibler Construction Company to serve as the construction manager at risk for the projects that the board has approved for us to do for the summer of 2017. And that's the recommendation, and you see the tabulation sheet along with the signatures of all the members of the group that conducted the interviews. We also convened the board facilities committee to review this process and the recommendation. And so it's our recommendation that the trustees approve the selection of W.B. Kibler Construction Company as the construction manager at risk, and also authorize the superintendent or his designee to execute a contract with that firm.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. I know the Board Facilities Committee met on this. Is there anything one of you would like to share or comment on before I open it up to general questions?
We spent quite a bit of time on this, and I think it should be noted that our district sent out 55 and received 3, and I think that really speaks to the amount of construction and economic development that's going on in our area. And so it's a very competitive market, and I think when we're looking at this, it's something I think that we're also talking about maybe creating some other systems to help as we're moving forward, because just 1 year out, it's really difficult to even get somebody to do some of these projects just for this summer. So there's a lot of things that other districts are doing a little bit differently that we're going to move forward. But that's, as you're looking at this, I just understand that we're in a very hot market, and there's a lot of business that we're, construction companies that we're trying to compete for their attention.
Yes, Ms. Cox?
Just to piggyback off Ms. Timish, just to also note that we're not sold short to just having 3 choices. This company does have experience with school districts and working at a fast pace because we do have a lot of work to be done over the summer, but this company comes with great references and is perfectly capable of handling the work, so I feel very confident in the choice that the district is going to make.
Thank you. Mr. Miller?
I would echo those thoughts. You know, there was a lot of discussion, and if anybody knows anything about this board, we do ask a lot of questions. And so we asked a lot of questions, and of course, for those who haven't gone through a procurement process with us and the way that Mr. Martin does scoring, it's a pretty extensive thing. What you see here, if you see these numbers, you see a substantial difference in price. One of the things, again, our great legislature doesn't allow us to pick professional services based on price because they know better. So we can pick somebody and then we can apply price, legal services, those types of things. So it just so happened that the firm that scored best was substantially lower. And as Ms. Cox mentioned and Ms. Timish, there's a timing issue of availability of staff to work on these projects this summer. Now, one of the things that happened with the Marcus and Flower Mound 9 campuses was we had some issues with project managers, right, going back and forth and switching out and that type of thing. And I think one of the things that Mr. Ball and Jason and Randy and the folks talked to us about is that when this firm came in, they brought the people who would do the work. And, of course, that's always nice to know that the people we're interviewing are going to do the work, that we can see them, we can understand it, and then versus we start the work and somebody shows up, we'd have no idea what their experience is and that type of thing. So I really appreciate the thoroughness we went through here. I think it accommodated, even though we have some new players within the administration, it allowed us to have confidence that some of the things in the past that we had concerns about are addressed in who we select, and it's fantastic that they just turned out to be so much less expensive. So thank you guys for doing a great work on this.
Right. Thank y'all. Are there any other questions? Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Cox. It's a motion by Mr. Miller and a second by Ms. Cox. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor? And that, too, is unanimous. Wonderful. All right, moving on into consent. Are there any items that we need to pull? Okay. And then I'd like to entertain a motion for...
Motion to move the consent agenda items as written.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Prosnick. It's a motion by Mr. Miller and a second by Ms. Prosnick. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor? And that's unanimous. And if there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned, and the time is now 9:48. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope you have a safe travel home.